before the healing arrives. God will expose the wound you tried to hide from everyone. There are moments in life when the world sees you standing. But only God knows how much effort it took for you not to fall apart. You walk through your day like nothing is wrong. You smile for the people who depend on you. You laugh so no one asks questions. You act strong because you've always been the strong one. But deep inside, your heart has been whispering things no one else hears. The truth is, you've been carrying pain that never fully healed. Pain you didn't talk about. Pain you didn't have words for. Pain you tried to bury, hoping time would fix it. But time didn't heal it, it only buried it deeper. There were nights when you looked fine on the outside, but inside, you were breaking quietly. The kind of breaking that doesn't make noise, but destroys you slowly. And in those moments, those hours when you thought no one noticed, God noticed. He saw the tears you wiped alone. He saw the memories that haunted you. He saw the people who hurt you without even apologizing. He saw the love you gave that was never returned. He saw the loyalty you offered that was never valued. Heaven was watching the whole time. And God said something you didn't hear. I will not let them walk through this alone. I will send someone who understands their wounds. You see, healing doesn't start with a miracle. Healing starts when God decides your suffering has lasted long enough. This scene, right now, is the turning of a page. The beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where you don't have to pretend to be strong anymore. A chapter where you don't have to hide your emotions. A chapter where you don't have to carry everything by yourself. Because God is preparing someone. Someone gentle. Someone patient. Someone emotionally safe. Someone who will not break you, but rebuild you. Someone who won't ask you to be perfect, they'll ask you to be honest. Someone who won't punish your vulnerability, they'll protect it. This person is not an accident. They are a divine assignment. God has been shaping them through their own storms, so they can understand yours. God has been softening their heart, so they can handle yours. God has been preparing their soul, so they can help heal your soul. And when they enter your life, you'll feel something you haven't felt in years. Peace. Not excitement. Not fear. Not anxiety. But real peace, the kind that settles your heart and silences your worries. You will talk to them and feel understood. You will open up to them and feel safe. You will cry in front of them and feel comforted. You will share your story and feel valued, not judged. This is not just a person. This is a gift. A miracle wrapped in human form. A healing sent straight from heaven. And when they arrive, every painful moment you went through will finally make sense. You will say, God, you really saw me. This is the beginning, Irfan Bhai. Not the beginning of another heartbreak, but the beginning of healing. Real healing. Deep healing. God-sent healing. And the loneliness you've been sitting with for so long is about to be replaced with a love that lifts you. Because God is sending someone. Someone who will help you heal. God is not sending you another lesson. He's sending you the person who proves why the pain had to end. Sometimes the reason God makes you wait is because the person He's preparing for you is still being shaped in the quiet places of their own life. Just like you have wounds, they have wounds too. Just like you needed healing, they needed healing too. God doesn't send broken people to heal broken people. He heals each heart individually. So when the two meet, they don't bleed on each other. Somewhere right now, the person God is sending you is going through their own transformation. They may be sitting in their room, thinking they are alone, just like you once did. They may be healing from betrayal, from disappointment, from people who misused their kindness. They may be asking God, will I ever meet someone who understands me? And heaven is whispering. Soon. This scene is not about your pain. It's about the miracle being prepared on the other side of it. You are not going to meet someone ordinary. You are going to meet someone who has walked through fire, yet still carries softness in their heart. Someone whose loyalty survived storms. Someone whose kindness didn't die in heartbreak. Someone who still believes in love. Not because they never suffered, but because God restored them. This is why it took time. Beautiful souls take time to build. God had to heal them before He could trust them with you. God had to break their pride, strengthen their patience, and deepen their compassion, so they could love you the way you've always deserved. And when they enter your life, they won't just see your strength. They'll see your wounds. But they won't run. They won't judge. They won't pressure you. Because they've been broken too. They know what it's like to cry silently. They know what it's like to feel alone in a room full of people. They know the weight of pretending to be okay. They will sit with your silence and not feel uncomfortable. They will hear the pain behind your words. They will understand the things you don't know how to explain. Because they were shaped for you. Designed for you. Prepared for you. And when they love you, they will love you with intention. They will love you steadily. Not inconsistently. They will love you honestly. Not manipulatively. They will love you gently. Not carelessly. They will love you like someone who knows what it feels like to be broken. And never wants to break you. This person will speak life into you. They will remind you of your worth. They will soften the places that became hard. They will inspire parts of you that you thought were gone. They will bring laughter back into a voice that forgot how to smile. They will bring comfort back into a heart that forgot how to rest. And here is the miracle. You will heal just by being loved correctly. Not forcefully. Not urgently. But naturally. Because their presence feels like peace and their words feel like home. When they pray with you, you will feel heaven open. When they hold your hand, you will feel your fears loosen. When they look at you, you will feel God's intention behind their eyes. This is not the kind of person you chase. This is the kind of person God sends. And when they arrive, you will understand why God didn't let certain people stay. Why He closed painful chapters. Why He allowed the distance. Why He didn't let you settle for less. Because what's coming is worth every tear, every weight, every prayer. God is not just sending you a person. He is sending you healing in human form. Your peace in human form. Your answered prayer in human form. And in this scene of your life, you are being prepared to receive someone who will help you heal in ways you never imagined. Sometimes, healing begins with a hand you never expected, reaching into a darkness you thought you'd never escape. You didn't notice it at first. Because pain has a way of blinding the heart. Days blended into nights, and nights felt heavier than your own breath. You kept telling yourself, no one understands, no one sees me. But heaven did. And one quiet evening, when you were sitting alone with all those thoughts you never say out loud, something shifted. Not outside, but deep inside your spirit. It was as if God whispered, I am sending someone. Not someone perfect. Not someone loud. Not someone who will show up with fireworks or dramatic words. No. God was sending someone gentle. Someone patient. Someone who would not break you where life already cracked you. Someone who would not question your tears, but honor them. And then it happened. A hand. Simple, soft, trembling with sincerity. Reached toward you. It didn't force you. It didn't demand anything. It didn't ask you to open up before you were ready. It just reached out. Steady. Warm. slowly pulling you out of a place you didn't even realize you were sinking in. At first, you resisted. Not because you didn't want help, but because you had forgotten what help even felt like. You wondered, why would anyone care for me? But that hand didn't let go. It didn't rush you. It didn't judge you. It simply stayed. As if God Himself had wrapped His presence inside a person. And for the first time in a long time, you felt something rise in your chest. Hope. Small. Fragile. But alive. This person, the one God chose, entered your darkness not to fix you instantly, but to walk with you slowly, patiently, so your heart could breathe again. Yes. God sends people, not to replace Him, but to reflect Him. And this person, they are proof you haven't been forgotten. Proof that heaven still moves. Proof that prayers whispered through tears are heard by a God who answers gently. Your healing didn't begin the day they held your hand. It began the day God. Healing doesn't happen in a moment, it happens in the quiet places where someone finally treats your heart gently. There was a time when your heart felt like shattered glass. Sharp, scattered, impossible to pick up without bleeding again. You stopped trusting your own emotions. Stopped believing that anyone could hold your heart without dropping it. Stopped hoping that love could feel safe. But God. He saw everything others never noticed. He saw the nights you cried quietly. The mornings you forced a smile. The moments you pretended you were fine when you were breaking inside. And so, He sent someone. Not a person who would rush your healing. Or silence your pain. Or expect you to move on before you were ready. No. God sent someone different. Someone who spoke softly. Someone who listened deeply. Someone who didn't just hear your words, but understood the silence behind them. They didn't try to fix you. They didn't ask you to be strong. They didn't offer fake comfort or shallow promises. They just stayed. And slowly, something began to change. The cracks inside your heart, the ones life left behind, started catching light instead of darkness. Not because the pain disappeared, but because someone was finally handling your heart with care. Care you hadn't felt in years. They didn't push you to forget. They helped you remember who you were before the hurt. When you doubted your worth, they reminded you gently. You matter more than you realize. When you felt unlovable, they didn't argue. They showed you through their actions that love can be soft. Love can be patient. Love can be healing. Every conversation with them felt like God stitching something inside you. Slowly. Carefully. With threads of golden light. Because sometimes healing doesn't arrive as a miracle. Sometimes it arrives as a person. Someone who treats your broken heart like something precious. And you started to notice something beautiful. You weren't afraid to breathe anymore. You weren't afraid to feel anymore. You weren't afraid to hope anymore. Your heart, the one you thought would never heal, began to mend. Not because of them, but because God used them. They were the instrument. God was the healer. And this was only the beginning. You don't realize how heavy your heart has been, until God sends someone who makes it feel light again. There comes a moment in your healing journey, when you suddenly notice something you didn't expect. Peace. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that demands your attention. Not the kind that arrives in big dramatic moments. No. This peace is quiet. Gentle. Soft as morning light slipping through a window. And it came because God sent someone who didn't add weight to your life. They helped lift it. Before they entered your world, you carried everything alone. You carried your fear, your memories, your disappointments, your exhaustion, your loneliness. But then they came. And they didn't demand to see your wounds. They didn't force you to open up. They simply created a safe place. A place your heart had been longing for. A place where you felt understood without explaining. Heard without shouting. Valued without performing. A place where your soul could exhale. You didn't even notice it at first. You just felt lighter. Conversations felt easier. Your mind felt calmer. Your nights felt less lonely. Your mornings felt less heavy. This person wasn't perfect. They didn't try to be. They just brought peace wherever they walk. The kind of peace you forgot existed. And little by little, you started healing in their presence. You laughed more. Not the forced laugh you learned to use as a shield. But a real laugh. One that surprised even you. You smiled without thinking. You spoke without fear of being misunderstood. You shared pieces of your heart. Without feeling like you were risking everything. They didn't push your broken pieces together. They held the space. Where your broken pieces could heal. And here's the truth, Irfan Bhai. People like this don't show up by accident. They appear in your life. When God decides it's time for your heart to breathe again. This person was sent to remind you that love doesn't always hurt. Love doesn't always leave. Love doesn't always break you. Sometimes love heals you. And the peace they bring is not just from them. It's from God flowing through them. Because God knew exactly what your heart needed before you ever prayed for it. And now, your healing has begun to shift. Not slowly. Not painfully. But softly. Beautifully. Gently. Exactly the way God intended. Sometimes, when we feel completely alone, we sense a presence before we even see it. A gentle warmth hovers nearby, invisible yet undeniable. You don't know where it came from, only that it calms the storm inside. And then, slowly, someone steps into your life. Maybe you didn't expect them, maybe you didn't even know you needed them, but here they are. Their presence feels like light touching your soul, like a whisper from heaven saying, I've sent this one for you. Notice the subtle way the light bends around them, how it seems to lift every shadow from your heart. Every worry, every ache, every loneliness, begins to feel lighter. And as your eyes meet theirs, there is understanding. A sense of trust. A recognition that God has sent someone to guide you, to protect you, to help heal what has been broken for too long. The heart, once closed and heavy, begins to open again. Step by step, moment by moment, hope returns. Feel the depth of this arrival, not just as a person entering your life, but as an answer to prayers you whispered when no one was listening. The light behind them is a symbol, divine, unwavering, protective. It says, you are safe. You are seen. You are not alone. And in that realization, the heart breathes again, the spirit rises, and the soul remembers that even in the darkest seasons, God sends messengers to bring healing and restoration. So take a moment here. Let your mind rest. Let your heart feel. And as you watch this figure step closer, know that this is not coincidence. It is divine timing, orchestrated perfectly by the one who knows your heart. And with every gentle step, with every smile, with every word unspoken but deeply understood, healing begins. The journey forward is no longer lonely, it is shared, guided, and blessed. Tears are heavy, weighty, and sometimes endless. They fall silently, carrying the pain that words cannot express. But in this moment, something miraculous happens. A hand reaches out, tender, gentle, caring, and as it touches your cheek, your tears shimmer in the light. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the sorrow begins to transform. It turns into light. A soft, golden glow, warm and alive. It is a reminder that even the deepest pain is never wasted. God sees it. God feels it. And He sends someone to turn your grief into hope. Every tear wiped away is a blessing in disguise. Every heartache shared becomes lighter. The presence of this person is more than comfort, it is divine intervention. Each gentle gesture, each soft word, each look that says, "I am here with you," begins to mend the broken pieces of your spirit. And as the light grows in your eyes, in your soul, you realize that healing is already happening. Not instant, not always loud, but steady, sure, unstoppable. Stay with this moment. Let it sink into every corner of your heart. Feel the transformation, feel the warmth, feel the love, because God is working through this presence. This light, this comfort, this reassurance, it is His hand reaching through the world to touch you, to lift you, to heal you. And as your heart slowly opens, you can whisper to yourself, "I am seen. I am loved. I am not alone." In every tear that falls, there is hope. In every broken moment, there is restoration. And in every act of care, no matter how small, there is God moving, quietly, powerfully, beautifully, to remind you that the path ahead is brighter than the shadow behind. And now, at last, the journey of pain, longing, and waiting reaches a moment of fullness. Two hearts, once separate, now stand together under a sky painted with divine light. The rays fall softly, wrapping them in warmth, in peace, in undeniable love. This is more than a meeting, it is a divine appointment, a promise fulfilled, a healing orchestrated from above. Every step they took, every tear they shed, every prayer whispered, has led to this moment of restoration. Look at the light surrounding them. It is not just sunlight, but something deeper, something eternal. It symbolizes God's perfect timing, His infinite care, His unwavering love. The shadows of loneliness, of fear, of brokenness, all are fading. In their place grows trust, comfort, and the knowledge that God sends people, often in the most unexpected ways, to lift, to guide, and to heal. Take this in. Feel the magnitude of this moment. For healing is rarely instantaneous. It is a journey, a process, a series of tender steps guided by divine hands. And here, in this light, you see its completion, hearts mended, spirits lifted, souls renewed. This is the promise God makes, that He will never leave you alone. That He will send someone to help you, to remind you that love exists, that care is real, and that restoration is always possible. So stand with them in this scene, in this moment. Let your own heart rise in hope. Let your spirit breathe. For the God who heals, who restores, who sends help when we are weary, is working even now in your life. And as the rays of light touch them, know that you, too, are bathed in that same divine love, a love that never fails, a love that never quits, a love that brings peace, comfort, and healing beyond measure.